Dorian Yates, after years of bench pressing, I learned something important, and I first heard it from Arthur Jones. When it comes to multi-joint pressing exercises, a low decline gives you a far better range of motion than a flat bench. The pecs are designed to bring the upper arm down and across the body, and a decline press allows that movement more naturally. That's why, if you look at most pec tears, 9 times out of 10 they happen on the flat bench. It puts huge strain on the pec tendon where it ties into the shoulder. I used to do flat bench because Arnold did it, Sergio did it, Lee Haney did it, all the legends with massive chests. But my pecs weren't easy to develop. I was strong, benching over 500 pounds, but instead of chest growth I was building more delts and triceps. My pecs still looked flat. So I started experimenting, low decline presses, low inclines, and dumbbell flies. That combination finally triggered the chest development I had been missing. Sometimes you have to break tradition and train smarter, not just heavier. Dorian Yates on bench press, why he says decline flat for pecs. Arthur Jones once taught a lesson to Dorian Yates that would fundamentally shape how Yates trained his chest. Over years of lifting, bench pressing, and competing at the highest levels, including 6 consecutive Mr. Olympia titles, Yates says that one conclusion stood out: a low-decline bench press gives a far better range of motion and a safer, more effective path to pec development than the traditional flat bench. Flat bench takes away from pec emphasis. According to Yates, flat bench, especially when done heavy, tends to shift the load away from the pec muscles and onto the front deltoids, shoulders. That dilutes chest stimulation and undermines the main goal of building a big chest. Increased injury risk, especially pec tears. Yates argues that the flat bench angle places the pec tendons in a vulnerable position, increasing the risk of tendon strain or even tear. He's noted that many of the classic pectoral injuries stem from heavy flat benching. Ego lifting over muscle quality. For many gym goers, the flat bench becomes more about how much weight you can press, what's your bench, than actual chest development. Yates saw this as misguided, particularly for those with bodybuilding rather than powerlifting goals. Throughout his career, Yates favored decline and incline bench presses over flat bench, and for good reasons. Better range of motion and fuller pec stimulation, the decline, and incline bench enables a deeper stretch and full contraction of the chest, which Yates believed was superior for overall pec development compared to the stiff path of the flat bench. More balanced chest development, rather than isolating a single region, upper versus lower pec. Yates claimed these angles produced a more homogeneous chest, effectively hitting all fibers through controlled movements. Reduced risk under heavy loads. With decline and incline movements, including machine-based presses, you can work near failure with less shoulder/pec tendon strain, something Yates prioritized particularly in a career where long-term joint integrity is crucial. In his own words, paraphrasing, Yates felt the flat bench created too much front deltoid dominance and too much exposure to tendon stress. Why risk injury for dubious benefit? Person lifting weights. How Yates built his chest, his typical routine. Yates' chest routine during his competitive years often did not include flat bench. Instead, he built his impressive chest with a mix of decline barbell bench presses, in his early years, incline barbell presses and incline dumbbell flies, to target upper/mid-chest regions while maintaining controlled form. Machine-based presses, e.g. Smith machine, especially during rest pause or high-intensity sets when free weight safety was a concern. He believed in prioritizing quality over weight, better muscle activation, full range of motion, and safer tendon/shoulder health. Dorian Yates was never one to follow the herd. He questioned bodybuilding orthodoxy, rejected the bench ego, and prioritized long-term progress, achieving arguably one of the most complete, muscular chests in bodybuilding history. As he learned from Arthur Jones, sometimes less obvious, or less popular, variations, like the low-decline bench press, offer superior biomechanics for chest development. That's a lesson worth considering seriously for anyone who wants real muscle, not just big numbers on the bar.